Going back a few years ago, I purchased this tractor, an A4T 1600 white. Well, it's actually a Minneapolis Moline, but badged as a white out here. And I've had it running, had a few issues. There are a couple of earlier videos on my channel. A couple of my earliest videos were on this tractor, so feel free to go back and have a look at those. So this one's all about just trying to get the thing running a little bit better, and in the next video I'm going to do a tune-up and just try and get the cab controls working. Enjoy the video, guys. Good on you. G'day guys, it's Dave here from Old Rigs Down Under. Welcome to the latest video. So what we've got here is the White Plainsman, the A4T 1600. It's really a Minneapolis Moline, but this one's branded as a white, as most of them were in Australia. About a 71 model, I think, from memory. And it's been retrofitted with a NHRS Supercharged Cummins, which is pretty unique in itself. Just going to try and get it fired up. It has been running in the last couple of years, not very well. It wants probably a good tune-up and maybe more, but I just want to try and get it moved and see if I can get the power steering working a little bit better. But just, yeah, the main thing is just to try and get it moved and see if it'll run a little bit better than what it did before with an isolated fuel supply. So I just reckon there's a little bit of rubbish in the fuel tank and it was blocking the filter up, so I'm just going to run it out of a jerry can and see if it makes any difference. Anyway, I've charged the batteries up just over the course of the last few days, and I've just replaced a split fuel line here, so I'll crank it over and see if we can get some fuel out of there, and then just move that stop screw, for want of a better word, to control the fuel flow, or to control whether it runs or stops. Got an oil pressure gauge hooked up to it down here where my hand is, up to there. Just got a throttle return spring here. The cable going up to the cab isn't much good, so I've just got a piece of wire on there for now. I just want to see if I can get this engine running better before I start hooking up cab controls and making it drivable. I wouldn't mind taking it out to a tractor pull next year, but it's got a fair way to go before we get to that point. So anyway, we'll see if we can get it started. Right, so I'm going to try and fire it up. I've just done, as I said, put fuel into a jerry can and I run the suction line straight out into filters. I filled the filters up with diesel. This is the return line. I'm just going to leave it loose while I crank it, just to get any rubbish out of it that might have been in there, and then I'll put it back into the jerry can as well. I've topped the water up, checked the oil on the other side. I've left this line off the top of the pump. I'm just going to crank it over and see what comes out of it. And then if it's sort of clean and doesn't look like there's any rubbish and muck in there, I'll hook it up and we'll go for gold. So last time I was trying to start it, I rigged up this starter button to the solenoid on the other side. So I can do everything from out here. So I can control the throttle here. Got a decompression lever there. Got an oil pressure gauge here. So let's see what it wants to do. We've got fuel straight out of that solenoid there, which is good. Right, so we got good fuel coming out. There was a little bit of ugly, horrible stuff coming out of it. So that might work, it might do its job. I'll just spin it over a bit and see if we can get some oil pressure on the gauge. pressure there as well. Fuel shut-off's working, which I have had trouble before. I did do a video on this tractor probably 2 years ago or something like that, and I couldn't get the thing to stop, which was pretty scary. So anyway, we might hook this line up. It's a nice warm day here. It's probably it's getting close to 30 degrees Celsius. So, I mean, it should go. Like I say, it's not that long since it's been started. Now, there was a little bit of a split in this line here, this pressure line, and that's why I've replaced it. And it was just cracked ever so slightly, and maybe that's all it was causing the little bit of running rough. I'm not really sure on that yet, but anyway, hopefully we can get the thing to seal up and run a bit better. The next step is to take all the lids off and set the valves and set the injectors. I'm just waiting on a manual for that. I don't have those specs close at hand, and I'm not very familiar with them, so yeah, now let's just see if it wants to go. Sorry about the wind noise. It's just sort of comes up a little bit, then it'll back off. So just the camera seems to be really picking it up. But anyway, we'll see how the video goes, and hopefully it's not too bad. Probably once the engine gets started, you won't notice the wind anyway. Anyway, wish me luck. see fumes that were coming out of that. So it's obviously getting fuel in around the whole system. Well, this is my understanding of it anyway. I might be wrong, but yeah, I just had the decompression lever there, so no risk of starting. And yeah, because I guess it's close enough to a common rail system, it's got to have pressure right the way throughout. So yeah, by the time it's coming out there, you know, it's sort of fairly ready to go. So I'm half tempted just to let the decompression go and just see if it wants to kick. Anyway, still a little bit shaky, a little bit nervous, but we'll give it a go. Supercharger going there. Okay, so I've just lifted the remote fuel tank up off the ground, and those hoses should be right. We're not going to get up to 100 mile an hour. And I've got another battery here. I've just tied him on as well, just to see if we can get it to move and see if it's going to be able to steer. That's why it's here. It sort of got this far and ran out of fuel. And it didn't feel like it was really steering. You could sort of get it to steer, but it wasn't responsive and seemed very slow, like it was either starving for oil or just not getting any pressure. It shouldn't be starving for oil. It's got new oil in it, new filter. So it seems like it's okay in that. It could still have air in it. I'm not really sure, but anyway, I'll see what I can find out. So I've just checked to make sure she's in neutral. Turn my fuel solenoid on. See if it starts with no throttle. Not easily. Basic inside. sure if you can see or how well you can see it, but the tractor's moved over to here. We've just got no steering. So, I mean, that's not a new thing. It was like that before, but I was able to get a little bit of response out of it before, but there's nothing there now. So, not having a manual and not having a great deal of idea about them, I just thought to go up to the orbital motor there. They all come to a bulkhead on the outside. So I've cracked the hose there, the pressure hose. It's fairly basic. It's got a return which comes back to this return here and that return there. And let's try and get you a bit closer. So that's my return line, and it just goes into this bloke here. That's the pressure line, and it just comes straight from a pump that's designated just for the steering. So that's the pressure hose from the pump, and there's bugger all coming out of it. So I went down to the pump and had a look down underneath. Couldn't really do this. I couldn't really film it while it was running because it just sort of wouldn't see too much, and you wouldn't be able to hear anything. But that's the pressure hose, and there's nothing coming out of it. So I'm just going to make sure it's got unobstructed oil flow to it. And if that's the case, well, I might have to pull that pump apart. It's just a Vickers vane pump, a little bit like a V20. It's probably a little bit bigger, be a little bit higher flow, I would imagine, but it could be the same. It could just have a higher pressure. There were different settings in them. So anyway, that's the job now. I'm going to try and have a look at that pump and just make sure we got A, full oil there, and then B, see why it's not making any pressure. Sorry guys, there's a bit of missing footage here. The video was supposed to be of me underneath the front of the tractor cracking the lines off on that oil pump, but I realised after I'd done it that it wasn't recording. Well, managed to get it going and bled a bit of air out of that system. Got pressure to come out the other side of the pump, top the oil up, and she's steering, which is really good. So anyway, we'll just do a bit of a loop and make sure it does what it needs to do, and that'll nearly do it. So. Alright guys, that'll just about do for this video. On the next one, I'm going to go through the tune-up on the engine. So we're going to set the valve clearances and set the injectors, see if we can get it running a little bit better. Might even put the exhaust back on it and the bonnet back on. But for now, that'll do. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it, and we'll see you on the next one.